Lagos, a city of dreams and nightmares. The streets never sleep, and the people never stop moving. Beneath the towering skyscrapers and luxury estates lies a harsh reality, one that many refuse to see until it's too late. In the heart of this city, one woman stood as a symbol of success, Adesuwa Okafo. She wasn't just wealthy, she was powerful. The CEO of Oakwood Estates, one of the largest real estate companies in Nigeria. She owned luxury apartments in Victoria Island, Lekki, Ikoyi, and even Banana Island. People admired her. Some feared her. But none knew the tragedy waiting in her future. Adesuwa had fought tooth and nail to rise from nothing. Born in a poor family, she had struggled through hunger, rejection, and pain. She had promised herself one thing: her only son, Daniel, would never suffer as she did. She gave him everything: money, power, and influence. But in doing so, she forgot the most important thing: discipline. And soon, she would pay the price. Daniel was born into a life of excess. From the moment he took his first breath, he was treated like a prince. At 2 years old, he had more toys than the average child would ever see in a lifetime. At 3, when his nanny refused to give him chocolates for breakfast, he threw a tantrum so severe that Adesuwa fired the nanny on the spot. At 5, he broke an expensive flower vase during a fit of rage. Instead of scolding him, Adesuwa bought a new one. By the time Daniel was 10, he had learned an important lesson: rules did not apply to him. His school, Royal Gate International School, was one of the most elite schools in Nigeria. Parents paid millions in tuition, ensuring their children got the best education. But Daniel, he never worried about grades. His mother made sure of that. Whenever he failed exams, she bribed the teachers. Whenever he disrespected his classmates, she laughed it off. Whenever he bullied weaker students, she ignored the complaints. One afternoon, a shy, quiet student named Ton accidentally bumped into Daniel in the school hallway. "Watch where you're going, idiot," Daniel snarled, shoving him. I'm sorry," Ton stammered. But Daniel wasn't interested in apologies. He grabbed Ton's school bag and dumped all its contents onto the floor. Books, pencils, and notebooks scattered across the hallway as other students laughed. Ton bent down, his hands trembling, trying to pick up his things. "That's what you get for being a nobody," Daniel sneered before walking away. No teacher dared to punish him. Everyone knew the power his mother had. And so, Daniel grew up believing he was untouchable. By the time Daniel was 18, he had fully embraced his reckless lifestyle. He barely attended school. He spent nights partying in exclusive clubs meant for men twice his age. He had a fleet of luxury cars, despite never having a driver's license. At home, his mother refused to see the truth. "Let the boy enjoy his life," she always said. I worked hard so he wouldn't have to struggle. But others could see what she refused to acknowledge. One day, his school principal, Mr. Ajayi, invited Adesuwa for a meeting. "Madam," he began, "I need to be honest with you. Your son is on a dangerous path. If you don't correct him now, the world will correct him later, and the world is not merciful." Adesuwa smiled dismissively. "Mr. Ajayi, with all due respect, my son is not like other children. He is a leader. He is confident, fearless, and strong. I don't want to break his spirit." The principal sighed. "There is a difference between confidence and recklessness, madam. If you don't discipline him now, he will face consequences in the future." But Adesuwa refused to listen. And so, Daniel continued his reckless life, one step closer to disaster. It was a Friday night, and Lagos was alive with music, flashing lights, and laughter. Inside Genesis Club, one of the most expensive nightclubs in Victoria Island, Daniel was the center of attention. Seated in the VIP section, surrounded by bottles of champagne, girls, and fake friends, he threw bundles of cash into the air. "Drinks on me," he shouted. The crowd cheered. Among his friends was Toby, his childhood friend, the only one who still had a conscience. Toby leaned in and whispered, "Daniel, maybe we should slow down. You've had too much to drink." Daniel laughed loudly. "Do you know who I am, Toby? I can drink this whole bar and still drive home perfectly." As the night deepened, Daniel became completely wasted. His vision blurred. His speech slurred. His movements became unsteady. But when it was time to leave, he refused to call his mother's driver. "I'll drive myself home," he declared, staggering toward his black Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. Toby tried to stop him. "Bro, you're too drunk. Let's take an Uber." But Daniel pushed him away. "Get out of my way, Toby." And with that, he sped off into the night. His friends watched in fear. And within minutes, disaster struck. The Mercedes roared down the Lekki Expressway, Daniel's hands shaking on the steering wheel. The speedometer climbed past 140 kilometers per hour. He was laughing. Drunk. Reckless. Unstoppable. Then, it happened. A pedestrian stepped onto the road. An elderly man, returning home from work. Daniel saw him too late. Third. The impact was horrifying. The man's body hit the hood, smashed against the windshield, and rolled onto the pavement. Inside the car, silence. Daniel's breath came in short gasps. His hands trembled. His heart pounded. He had just killed a man. And this time, his mother's money wouldn't save him. The street was silent, except for the distant sound of car horns. The lifeless body of the elderly man lay on the cold asphalt, illuminated by the red glow of Daniel's brake lights. His heart pounded in his chest. His vision was still blurry, but he knew what had happened. He had killed someone. For the first time in his life, Daniel felt true fear. His hands trembled on the steering wheel. His breath came in short, panicked gasps. His mind raced. Then, in the rearview mirror, he saw something else, a woman screaming, running toward the body. It was the man's daughter. She fell to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. "You killed him," she screamed. "You killed my father." People began to gather. Passers-by pulled out their phones, recording the scene. A crowd was forming. Daniel panicked. He knew what this meant. He had to get out of here. Without thinking, he stepped on the accelerator and sped off. The crowd erupted in angry shouts. "Stop him! Somebody call the police!" But Daniel was gone. For the first time in his life, money and privilege would not protect him. By the time Daniel reached home, his entire body was shaking. He ran into the house, his mind spinning. His mother, Adesuwa, was sitting in the luxurious living room, sipping wine and watching the news. She turned and frowned when she saw him. "Daniel, why do you look like that? What happened?" He could barely speak. Mom. I think I killed someone." Adesuwa's wine glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. For a moment, she was silent. Then, slowly, she rose from her chair. "Tell me everything," she said, her voice eerily calm. Daniel told her everything, how he had been drinking, how he had driven off, how people had seen his face. Adesuwa closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Then, she reached for her phone. "Don't worry," she said, dialing a number. "I handle this." Within an hour, her lawyer and a top police commissioner arrived. The lawyer, Barrister Williams, had handled many high-profile cases. He was known for making problems disappear. The commissioner, Chief Olimide, was a powerful officer, one who had been on Adesuwa's payroll for years. "We have a serious problem," Adesuwa said, pacing the room. "My son made a mistake. A terrible mistake." The commissioner folded his arms. "There were witnesses." Daniel nodded slowly. "The whole thing was probably recorded," the lawyer added. "Running away from the scene makes it worse. This is a hit-and-run case." Adesuwa slammed her fist on the table. "I don't care what it is. Fix it. Name your price." The commissioner hesitated. "Madam, this is different. This is a murder case. The public won't let this go easily." Adesuwa's eyes burned with anger. "You listen to me. I have paid you for years. I have covered your dirty secrets. Do your job." The commissioner sighed. "I will do what I can." But deep down, Adesuwa knew, this time, money might not be enough. The next morning, Daniel woke up to the worst news of his life. His face was all over social media. #Justice for Papa Chinedu was trending. The victim's family had gone to the press, demanding justice. The police were under pressure to arrest him. Even Adesuwa's money couldn't silence the noise. Then, the police arrived. Bang. 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 A loud knock on the door. "Open up. This is the police." Adesuwa rushed downstairs, her heartbeat racing. "You can't arrest him. We are handling this." But this time, the law was bigger than her money. Daniel was dragged out in handcuffs, his once arrogant face now filled with terror. The boy who thought rules didn't apply to him was about to face reality. Prison was nothing like Daniel expected. The air was thick with sweat, filth, and hopelessness. From the moment he arrived, the other inmates could smell his weakness. He wasn't a street boy. He wasn't a hardened criminal. He was a spoiled rich kid who had fallen from grace. And in prison, there was no mercy. On his first night, his food was stolen. On the second night, he was beaten. By the third night, he knew he wouldn't survive this place. His mother couldn't save him now. Adesuwa had spent her whole life shielding Daniel from consequences. Now, she couldn't protect him. She spent millions trying to bribe judges, pay off lawyers, and silence witnesses. But nothing worked. The case was too big, too public, too serious. And so, on a cold Monday morning, Daniel Okafor was sentenced to 15 years in prison. As the judge read out the sentence, Adesuwa collapsed in tears. Her son, her precious boy, the one she had protected from everything, was gone. Sitting in her mansion, surrounded by luxury, Adesuwa finally understood. She had failed her son. Not because she didn't love him, but because she loved him too much. She gave him everything but discipline. Everything but responsibility. Everything but the ability to face consequences. And now, she was paying the price. Alone. Parents, listen carefully. A child who is never told a no will one day destroy himself. A child who is never taught respect will one day face the world's harshest lessons. A child without discipline will eventually learn it the hard way. The world is not kind. If you don't raise your child well, the world will raise them for you. And the world is merciless. Please subscribe, like and share for more exciting stories.